So the big question is, how do we get through this phase that is so hard, that is so difficult, that hurts so bad? And this is where God steps in. This is the it's not me part, right? This is the area in your life, not the areas that only you and others can see. I'm talking about those layers that go deep, those layers that are only between you and God, the ones that nobody or very, very few people know about. Those layers, the layers that you don't even know are there, that were built into your subconscious based off of your environment as a child. We are walking around with mental trauma, and we're not getting any help. We're only trying to display what it looks like to hold all yourself together while everything's falling apart. The trick of the trade nowadays is to not look like what you're going through. But that doesn't fix anything. That doesn't heal anything. That doesn't touch on anything. There is no substance to that. There is no win situation with acting like you don't care. Acting like you wouldn't care if that person stopped talking to you. Acting like you wouldn't care if you didn't have a specific somebody in your life. Acting like you don't care that your parents abandoned you. Acting like you don't care about a lot of things, all because you're hurt. That's not healthy. And we walk around with a lot of baggage, and I'm walking around with a lot of baggage, y'all. I am. I'm walking a bag lady. But you know something about me? I do know God, the God I serve, that I choose to believe in. I know that the Lord is going to get me through this. And I just want to share something with you, just to show you that I know. There was a time when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And at the time, I was in a one-bedroom apartment. It was about 560 square feet altogether. And I had just had my newborn son. My credit was all messed up. Okay. I, you know what I'm saying, was doing some stuff all behind the scenes, blah, blah, blah. So, me applying for this apartment myself, right, wasn't getting it. I applied, this is just to catch you up in case you weren't caught up. I had applied for a 2-bed, 2-bath for Braden and I, and it got denied because of my credit, okay? So, this time, I was having a conversation with my father about it. I was driving all back and forth and up and down and everywhere, ripping all across the city, looking for a place to stay, panicking because I felt like we had nowhere to go. Our situation in that one-bedroom apartment was horrible. We had bed bugs because I had bought some furniture off of a showroom, out of a showroom, not knowing any better, in a rush. When I tell you I needed to leave, and I was also in a domestic violence situation, and the man knew where I lived and refused to stop showing up at my house. So I applied for a 2-bed, 2-bath, and of course, because of my credit, I was denied. Well, I had to talk with my father second time around. And the only time there was a second time is because my dad told me to ask again. And I thought he was crazy. I said, Dad, they already told me no. He said, ask again. Now, in the midst of all of this, the manager had asked me to send an email explaining why I really needed to move, right? And I sent something that was just like, because I need to. Okay. She never got that email. So she messages me and says, Hey, um, did you ever get around to sending me that email so I can let, everybody, the higher ups, know why you need this so we can get this done for you? I said, I did send it to you. She said, No, I don't have anything. I said, Okay. And this time, the Lord spoke to me and said, Tell them why you need this. And so I did. I went into detail telling them about the domestic violence, about the bed bugs. I told them I had a newborn baby and we had outgrew the place. I needed something bigger. I told them everything. And within days, the manager was calling me back and told me that they had gotten my email and I got approved for the place. I only had the faith of a mustard seed, but I used that faith. I used that faith, and I didn't know exactly what the outcome was going to be, but I trusted God. And that's what we do in these times, these hard times, what it feels like these dry times, when it feels like God is not really there. Is he really answering? Is he really responding? Is he really listening to my cry? Does he know what I'm really sad about? Even though I haven't allowed it to come out of my mouth, does God know what's on my heart? And the answer is yes. I am far from perfect, and God speaks to me. So I know for a fact, if you believe and you ask God to come into your life and speak to you, I know He will. If He's talking to me, I know He's going to talk to you without without a doubt. Talk to the Lord. I do my community service. I do these videos because I really truly love God and what God has done for me. And I used to be held back from my blessings because I thought that I was a messed up person. I thought that I had did so much wrong I didn't deserve anything. And that's a lie. That's a trick of the enemy. The enemy wants you to believe that What God told you is not true. And what God told you is what God told you. I don't know what God told you. I know what God told me. But whatever the Lord places on your heart, believe that. If the Lord tells you you're going to have that place, you believe it. If the Lord tells you you're going to have that job, you believe it. I don't care what anybody is telling you or what the situation is looking like. You walk with your head up, knowing and believing that God is going to live out that vision that He keeps showing you. God is going to live out that greatness that is on the inside of you that needs to be brought out. Sometimes bad situations bring out things that we didn't know were there. That's the meaning of suffering. Sometimes you have to suffer in order to know what kind of person you are in certain situations. You got to know if you crack him or if you moving on to the next punch. But you'll never know if you don't ever go through anything. I never understood the trials and tribulations part of it, but now I understand why you go through things. And it's not that God puts you through these things. You go through things in life anyway. And if you do it right and you do it with faith and you do it knowing that you're going to be successful no matter what. I mean, every now and then you may have a loss, but more than likely that's a win situation, right?